Hello there, welcome to class. I'm Miss Faust. Please make sure you have paper available and a pen or pencil. Do you? Let me check. Oh my goodness, fantastic. You're on top of it. All right. Yes, today's a note-taking day, and I believe I even wrote that up on the board. Take notes. We are going to talk about the 5th comprehension/reading strategy. Then we're going to deal with the next writer. Are you ready? You are? Great. So follow me over to the board. Okay, come on this way. And let's tackle the strategy first. Okay, so we have number 5, comprehension/reading strategy. It is visualization. So we've done making inferences, predicting or making predictions. Yes, summarizing, good, and also questioning. And now we do visualization. And this is a perfect strategy for the reading that you're going to do today. Okay? Because this individual who wrote the selection, today's selection, my goodness, details. You'll be able to apply this strategy. Yes, 100%. Now, what is the strategy all about? When we visualize, we do what? And let me tell you right now that when you use visualization to, picture what's going on, that's abbreviation, what it's all about, it will help you to remember what you read. Okay? So yes, try to picture what is going on. Okay, whether it's in a poem, a novel, okay, a short story, wherever, even in an essay. It doesn't matter whether it's fiction or nonfiction. Try to picture what is going on. So that's what we're talking about. When we do visualization, this is it. To visualize and place, again, take notes. You never know. They may come in very handy down the road. School isn't over yet. Not till the end of next month. There you go. Okay, so to visualize is to develop a mental image. So a mental picture, an image in your mind, okay, of what is described in the text. So again, is to develop a mental image of what is described in the text. So yes, you're creating a mental picture, if you prefer that over image. It's a picture in the mind. So if you're reading about a dog, you should be able, if the writer is a really truly good and strong writer and very much into images, you shouldn't have any problems. You should be able to see that dog, see exactly what it's doing. Okay? What he looks like. What he sounds like when he barks. How he's treated by those around him. Okay. You should be able to get pictures of that in your mind. Okay? So that's something you should remember for your own essays. Try to use details, because then people can use visualization so they can develop that mental image, that mental picture. It truly will help you to remember the text so much better. Visualization is a truly fantastic tool, a fantastic strategy. So you've got now 5. Use these 5 strategies to help you, when you're reading, to truly read critically, not just breeze right through and go, oh, that was great. It was about a dog. That's it. That's all I remember. If you can visualize it, you'll remember. If you're asking yourself questions, that means you're remembering. If someone says, summarize what you just read, those 25 sentences, summarize them, and you can do it. Okay. If you look at the title and you start making predictions, oh, this is going to be about a lost dog. You could be right, you could be wrong. But you're making a prediction. You're foreseeing what you're going to be reading about. And you're reading that first sentence. and you're making an educated guess about what's going to happen down the road, next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sentences. Okay? That's critical thinking, critical reading, folks. Please use these strategies. You have all 5. Making inferences, predicting / making predictions. What else? Summarizing. What else? Questioning. And yes, indeed, visualizing. Okay? There you go. Any questions? No? But if you do come up with one, please email me. I'll be only too happy to help you out. Okay? Our writer is going to be Anna Hempstead, or I should say Hempstead branch. Okay? These are her years. So we're talking Anna Hempstead branch. Excuse me. 1875 to 1937. Okay, so she is our writer. Okay? She is a poet and a children's writer. Let me share a few tidbits about her. Okay, let me get my stuff together, my notes. Keep in mind, the next class period, I will be going over the highlights of today's reading. So make sure that you are prepared, that you read today, that you read the reading selection, so that you can follow along when I go over it. Okay, next time. Of course, you can still take notes and all that, and I want you to. Get into the habit of taking notes. It's good. It's good. Okay? Just as I'm trying to get you to use these strategies. Get into the habit of using these strategies. Because this class is about critical reading. These strategies are all going to help you to critically read and think. It doesn't matter what class you're in. Health class. A math class. A government class. No matter what class. Okay, so as I said, and she's an American, okay, American poet and children's writer. She's considered to be a major poet, or I should say, was considered a major poet during her life. When we talk about major versus minor, because there are minor poets, major poets are the ones that tend to influence down the road, those who come after them. Whereas the minor, somehow, critics have said, and scholars say, well, if you're a minor poet, well, that's great. You're a good poet, but you're not going to really influence those who come after. Well, right now I have an idea of one poet I'm thinking, because she was categorized as a minor, and yet people were impressed with her. Maybe that's the difference. They weren't influenced, but they were impressed with her, and yeah, they tried to get her, follow her style. Well, however, but that's the difference between, okay, so she was considered to be someone that you would follow down the road in your writing style. Okay, so in case you're going, okay, what kind of reading are we going to do? Yes, you're doing a poem. You got it. Yeah. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay. Let's see. She went to college, actually to Smith College, which is an all-girls school, college. Okay. And because her father was a lawyer, he happened to be in the area, and that's in the south. The east. Okay. She spent most of her time in New York. She is actually from Connecticut. Her mother herself was a children's author. She comes from a famous family. Let's see. From a famous family that they owned lots of homes and in Connecticut and the like. So she, comes from a great pedigree. Okay, her dad being a lawyer and all that. She herself was influenced by a fantastic British, wanted to say writer, but actually is a poet. And the poet's name was Christina Rossetti. Fantastic poet. I'm serious. She's a fantastic. She represents a period in British history. Well, I guess history and literary periods. The Victorians. Okay, great writer. And the Rossetti family themselves was an impressive family. Everyone, all the siblings seem to do something great. Whether it's poetry, sculpting, painting, it's amazing. So this woman influenced her style, and she was very religious, Rossetti. religious family and the like. So she was influenced by Rossetti and some others, but Rossetti was a great influence on her. Let's see what else we got. She tended to write. She loved, now we're talking about Branch. You're going, okay, who are we reading? Rossetti? Yeah, I'm sorry. Rossetti is a fantastic, yeah, if we were doing no, okay. Yeah, we're talking Branch. Branch liked to do blank verse. So in case you're going, okay, what's blank verse? So when we talk about verse, we're talking about poetry, okay? So let me see, what else? Oh, blank verse. So we're talking about, it's poetry without rhyme. That's the best way. Or verse without, I guess we should say verse without rhyme, but it's poetry without rhyme. So she doesn't rhyme. So she does like that. She is impressed because one of the romantic poets in England before the Victorians, yeah, before Christina Rossetti, yeah, he wrote blank verse. So she was influenced. So she she wrote poetry, obviously volumes of poetry, and she also did some children's work. Okay, so some of her work was considered more for children. Okay, yeah, and she got into writing poetry and like because she. When she was graduating from college, I guess before her graduation, she entered a poem to the college, and it was considered to be the year's best verse by a graduating college graduate. In other words, student. Okay. So yes, so she did a lot of the poetry writing and for children. She is considered also. She's also well known for. Let me see. For her philanthropy, in other words, for her charity work. She created what they called the Poets Guild, where they would come together, and the members would come together, and there were some interesting people that came together at these meetings, and they would talk about poetry, and they would compose poetry, and they do readings, and they just share thoughts, and they were the great poets and the like. So she did that. They had one that they would teach classes at the house and everything, and she was also the vice president, and she did all sort of charitable for fellow poets and the like. Let me see what else we have. She tried to. One of the poets that you might know is Robert Frost. He was involved with this, okay, with the Poets Guild and the like. She came up with. And let me see what else we have. Okay. She was very active in trying to bring poetry into people's lives during the 1910s and 1920s. So that was her big thing. Her passion was poetry, and she wanted to bring it into people's lives. And we're not talking about other poets' lives. We're talking about the average everyday person out on the street, walking to the a market, going into the bank, and getting some money out and whatever. So to make it accessible, so that people understand that poetry isn't just for the people that are rich and creative and the like. It's for everyone. To make it easy. Does that make sense? She does have somewhat of a religious background. Okay, so that's the affinity with Rossetti, Christina Rossetti. Again, Rossetti's family was religious. So they have that in common. Let's see. She was quite often invited to high schools and colleges. She would speak, and she spoke at Wellesley, another women's college. She gave talks, and till the very end when she passed away. And she passed away of cancer in 1937 at 62, I believe. So that's basically Anna Hempstead Branch. Okay. Now, what you need to know is she does use a little bit of history in her work. And there might be a little bit, and there's also a little bit of, in some of her works that you read, tinge of religion. Okay. Because of her background and the like. So be aware of that. And because of the history. And now we turn to that. In order for you to understand today's reading, you need to understand the history of Joan of Arc. So, are there any questions about Miss Branch? No. Okay. So we have Joan of Arc. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Joan of Arc, in case you're not familiar with her. She lived way before Branch, 1412 to 1431. You're going, wow. Yes, she died in 19. She's also, sorry, a little frog there. She's also considered to be the Maid of Orleans. She's from France. Guess where? Orleans. And she is described as a martyr. In other words, someone who gives her life for a cause. And if you're familiar with her, she was a warrior and a military leader. So what we have here, okay, let's see. How do I? Yes, Joan of Arc. She basically, as a young person, she was raised to be very domestic. Okay, she was skilled as a seamstress, as someone who fixed clothing and made clothes, sewed, clothes. It's like, yes, Miss Fowler, you. Made little dresses and the like, and shirts, and did seamstress. Okay. And then she, according to history, she had a calling, and I don't mean a calling as in her calling is to become a teacher type thing. But she heard voices and saying that she needed to defend the individual who was supposed to be king, namely King Charles, in France at the time. And so she became the leader of a troop. And in those days, if you're looking into 1400s and the 15th century, not too many leaders were women, if any at all, but she was. And again, remember, this is France, and they had issues in those days between the king. In other words, the British king said he was king of England and also of France, but the French people said, no, our king is Charles, and unfortunately he wasn't able to defend himself really well. So she heard these voices, and we are talking about the 100 Years' War, which really wasn't 100 years, but a little bit more during this time. So anyway, she heard the voices, so she became the leader of her own troop of men, cut her hair to look like a boy, dressed like a man, and became the leader. And let's see, and she was good. Okay, and she took them to victory and everything. And what really happened here is, unfortunately, the king, and here's like a little picture. I mean, it's just something she might have looked like, this is from one of the articles on Joan of Arc, but just gives you a little idea of, that kind of, Joan of Arc, what people think she looked like. But the king there wasn't very strong a man, and he was told that she's becoming too powerful and this and this. And in her last battle, at 18 she brought them to victory. At 19, she was captured. The man who was supposed to be king, he didn't defend her, and she was burnt at the stake as a heretic. In other words, somebody who didn't believe in God and the like. And plus, because she was dressed as a man and cut her hair like that was a no-no in those days. But she was burned at the stake at 19, and again, the king did not defend her. It's years later when, sorry for the interruption, when the king finally realized he should have done something. And centuries later, let me see, okay, Charles did become the king of France. He was the rightful king and everything. She was later canonized. In other words, she became a saint. Let's see, when did she? Okay. That would be. I'm trying to remember when she was. The year. I'm so sorry. So much information on her. It's amazing. As a saint in 1920. She was canonized as a saint in 1920. Okay. And, let's see. Yes, she is the patron saint of France. Anyways, you need to know a little bit about her. That's her history in order to understand today's reading and to appreciate it. Okay. Do you have any questions about Branch or Joan of Arc? Nope. Okay. So, here we go. Everyone. This is what I need you to do. I need you to Google Branch's Anna Hempstead Branch, her poem, The Warrior Maid. Okay? It's called The Warrior Maid. So I need you to read it. Please read it. It's not very long, and it's an easy read. People will say it's not that difficult, especially if you have a little bit of background of Joan of Arc. Again, so Google The Warrior Maid. Read the poem, please. Read it. Then copy and answer. What is the setting? What happened to the speaker? Remember, the speaker is the one telling the poem. Okay? And one moment. Whoop. Trying to reach my paper. Almost went that way. Yes. So the speaker is going. I'm just checking to make sure. We're talking about I. So we're in first person. So yes, you've got a speaker telling the story. Okay? Whatever the story is. So, but you need to know a little bit about Joan of Arc and what happened to her and the like, and so on and so on and so on. Again, if you want more information, feel free to Google Joan of Arc. She is a fascinating person. Lived 19 years, but those were some impressive 19 years, weren't they? To be, she was a warrior, she was a fighter, and she was very strong. People thought it was a guy on the horse. No, it was a girl. That was another reason why they burned her at the stake, because she dressed up as a boy. That was a no-no. They told, she was told, stop doing that. And she may have not been killed. Who knows? But she refused to, and yeah. And again, she had a calling. Let's see. So yes, you can Google that, and you can Google more information about Joan of Arc if you so, want more. But I'd like you to end your day with, do you like to print or use cursive? So as you can see, I'm printing. Now, do I have any sign of cursive? Sometimes I do a little bit of it. Oh my goodness, I don't think I did any. And nothing came out cursive. But I'm sure you remember what cursive is. When we're talking about cursive, we're talking about okay? So which one do you prefer? Do you like to do the print or you like to do the cursive? Let me know. Okay, please make sure you do read this poem. It is a fascinating read. It really is. And next time, as I said before, I will go over the highlights of it. Okay, any questions? No? All right. So I wish you a great day. Till next time, take care and bye-bye.